Oh, yeah. Sorry. Make that 6 grand. Holy shit. Oof.
Sell, sell, sell.
What a haircut, man. My God.
Wait, is it
Oof.
because they the gains were already baked in? Like, basically, is this a sell the news event?
Yeah. Sometimes Fed rate cuts show like a um, an increased inflationary environment. Like the Fed didn't meet their inflation goals, so like inflation's ramping back up. And job, I'm sure that and
Wouldn't that
I
be
didn't
the
read.
opposite? Wouldn't they raise rates if inflation was coming back up?
Mm-mm. Well, I mean, I guess it depends, but I don't think they met their. I don't think they met their. I didn't read the article. I just saw
Okay.
like I was just like, oh, why did the stock market just fall off a cliff by 3% on every single thing I have, and then it was just like Fed cut rates, and sometimes. Yeah, markets react differently to different news. So sometimes the markets go crazy happy when they cut rates,
It's
and then
been ripping
sometimes they
though.
don't.
It's been
Yeah,
ripping.
I think there's been something with the job reports, and then because they've been planning on cutting rates, but it wouldn't be something like maybe like emergency where they would halt rate cuts because they didn't meet inflation expectations. I'd have to read the article, but it's just always different. Markets react differently to different things. We've also been on a historic run. Like
Yeah, it's been insane.
it's been insane. Like Tesla's. I mean, yeah, I think God, everything's down right now. I don't even want to look at it because it's falling in real time, and I want to. Oh God, damn. Yeah, I don't
This
want to.
show won't go live until January
Yeah,
2nd.
yeah.
So
I don't want to. I mean, the whole market just fell by like. Let's see. The S&P fell by only 2%, but a lot of the tech stocks fell. Growth stocks fell.
mm,
Yeah, everything's fallen. Let's see, Tesla fell by. That's a big reason. Yeah, I lost. Yeah, that's a big portion of it. Tesla fell by 8%.
oh,
Yeah, but I mean,
it's
Tesla's
still way up. Is it
jumped
up
by
like a
yeah, it's
hundred?
jumped by
Yeah,
100% in the last. You know what I mean? It's
six
just a
months or
game.
something. Yeah.
I was on airplane mode. And so for the show, and so when I flipped it back off of airplane mode, it was just like I got all these alerts, like this is down, this is down, this is down, this is down, this is down. Like, all right, turn off all my stock stuff for the next couple of days until it recovers.
You want to be a stock trader full time, don't you?
Um,
You love it.
I do,
You do love it. I know you
I
do.
do. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I wouldn't want to be like a day trader, but I think like I love like I like reading and I like learning and I like it's like
It's
everybody
kind of
wants
like
to
a
come
game.
in.
It's a little bit of like a game. Strategy. There's all these
Yeah,
moving
but I
parts.
also like being a part of businesses that are cool. It's like
Yeah.
when people are like, "Oh, why do you have so many weird businesses?" I'm like, well, I just like, you know what I mean? It appeals to my ADD nature. So it's just like then I end up reading and I learn about stuff. I learn about. It's also really a cool way to figure out like what's happening in the world and how like these world events impact the economy. And so like this all does affect our small businesses and our
Hmm.
real life businesses. But yeah, I love it. I find it super interesting, like CEO change over hands. It's just like I feel like it makes me a smarter business guy in general,
Yeah.
having some just a better understanding of like what small changes can how small changes can have such massive impact. So
Yeah.
I mean, and then it's like I make money too, or lose money. But I mean, we've been in a crazy historic bull run, so I've only experienced because I've only been I wouldn't even say trading, but investing. I'm not really a speculative guy. I'm like in it for the long term. But I've only been in it for oh great, now my group notifications are gonna be blowing me up. I got to go back into airplane mode because now ever since it happened, I just see all these like my after hours hits. They're like ding ding ding
Okay.
ding. Like everyone's like, oh my god, I got 3 grand in the market. I've lost 1,500. But yeah, I'm not like a big speculative guy. That's why I've never been super into crypto. Um, just because there's not a product. You know what I mean? It's like this sort of wishful thinking. I like crypto. I have a little bit of crypto, but it's still speculative. There's
Very much so. Yeah.
there's
It's
not a use case. You know what I mean?
well, Bitcoin is the only one that I believe has value because they're treating it like gold.
Sure.
So it's a little different. The rest of them, the utility isn't there yet, and
No.
it's very much speculative. And I believe in blockchain, but as far as crypto goes, it's a crapshoot. Like which one is going to be the winner? There's only going to be a couple.
Well,
There's
it's
going
funny.
to be a couple winners coming out of it.
Somebody
but how
made
do
an
I know?
argument. I read about smart contracts on blockchain, where smart contracts don't work on blockchain because you need a third party to validate a said contract, like a judiciary committee.
Yeah.
So a contract can't operate independently without a set of checks and balances. So I mean, right now it's just this theoretical argument. I think Bitcoin's great if like the economy, like the whole world economy collapsed and we needed a new way to like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A bankless
so it's like,
system. Yeah, a
yeah,
bankless system.
correct.
It works. It works well.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
don't
it's my fun. It's the off season where if I can make a little bit of money trading, I'm gonna go deeper into it. I'm definitely interested in the options and all that. So
we need to get a like a trader on the show. That'd be fun.
Steve trades and
But we need like a
professional trader.
professional trader to give some just advice, or just maybe they have a good story to tell. That'd be
Yeah,
fun.
I would. Oh man, maybe I'll reach out to the creator of this the app that I'm on, because he's really smart. I mean, I think he just made like because he's from the Wall Street bet days, and he made a lot of money on some like full portfolio investments. Where he was doing like leaps on certain products, so to say like somebody has done a ton of due diligence on Uber has had like a 20% decline, right? And they've done technical analysis on the charts, and they've done a ton of due diligence on the company. They've spent thousands of dollars on reporting. They've gone on site, and and this is how much these guys will invest when they're putting like $1 million into one trade. I don't think he did that. I think he YOLO'd it a few times, like as like a Wall Street bet trader, made a ton of money, and then he got out like pretty fast. He's just like, man, it's just like, it'd be like doubling, starting off with like $1,000 at the casino, winning 5 times, and then being like, I'm done, dude. I'm done. I just made, $50,000 in 5 minutes. I'm out.
Are you into mirror trading at all?
What do you mean, like following?
Basically, trade like a lot of people talk about following like what politicians trade. Warren Buffett, just mirror trading, just trading what like professionals do. You don't get it in real time because you don't know until I think like a day or two after. But still, I think it's a pretty interesting strategy that I bet if I did that from day one, I'd be a millionaire.
Maybe not. Well, the problem
they're
with
all
blind
super
follow,
rich though. I mean,
yeah, but the problem with blind follow though is that like you might catch the top by a day or two, especially on something crazy. Like, so it's like, yeah, if you'd have followed like Nancy Pelosi's or Paul Pelosi's trades when they were buying an Nvidia, but none of them like historically beat the market. There's not any kind of like really great traders. Like I just watched there was something
what about,
where
what
like
about Warren Buffett? If you just follow Warren Buffett.
yeah, I don't know, man. I guess if he would have liquidated
think-
when he
I think-
liquidated his position in Apple, like if you'd have followed and liquidated if you had a position in Apple.
I'm just thinking that if I would have started from the beginning, knowing what I know now about how to respect people who are smarter than you and follow the market, like I made so many dumb trades. I lost so much money because I thought I knew what I was doing.
You don't listen.
So, but I'll mirror trade. I think if I'm going to get back into it, I'm going to find someone who's really smart, that's made and beat the market at least better than most, and just do what they do. That would be my strategy. Anyways,
Oof.
are you? Is it still going down?
Yeah.
You need to turn that off because you're gonna.
It's funny. I'm actually reading this book called it's called The Trolls of Wall Street, and it's like they laugh about their losses. They go on and laugh. I mean, I'm fine. You know what I mean? Like it's been a historic ride the last month, so I'm like, whatever, it's fine.
You're still way up.
Yeah, way up.
Yeah.
But it's funny how they call it loss porn, and guys will post these pictures of these staggering losses. But again, these are guys that are like You know what I mean? Like, just say, for example, like I liquidated my entire investment portfolio and then saw, like, again, Uber, because like recently I've been watching Uber because it's like lost like 20% in the last 3 weeks or something like that. And I went all in on Uber and just moved everything into Uber because I was convinced that Uber was going to, you know, go on a run up and I
Yeah.
could make 20-30% on my full portfolio inside of like a month or something, that, and then once they reach whatever their goal is or where they want to exit at, or depending on how they bought into Uber, what calls, covered calls, whatever puts, and then they take that, hold it on cash. They're trying to time the market, which historically, like 99.9% of traders lose when you try and time the market. I buy dips and then I just hold it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this show is definitely not about stock trading, but
Nope.
we like to talk about whatever we want to talk about because it's our show.
Yeah, it's our show. If you don't like it, fuck off.
But this is our kind of our annual show where we kind of talk about a little bit about 2024 and what we think about in 2025. Disclaimer: this is not financial advice. Do not make serious business decisions based on Kevin and Greg from the Awkward Watersport Guys. This is what we're thinking for our businesses, though. And I guess we can just kind of start with 2024. I know, Kevin, you talked about on one of the previous shows that you had a pretty decent year, and a lot of our listeners have said it's been either flat or down a little bit. And we're still seeing the effects from COVID, the ramp down, I guess you could say. I know in our market it was especially difficult because there was just so little demand and so many companies. And I would say little demand, where demand kind of went back to 2019, but there's so many more companies now, and everybody listens to our show and is deploying all of our marketing advice. So it was busy. I don't know. What are your thoughts? 2024. What's the good and the bad?
Oh my God, man. I wonder if there's any industry that talks as much about their industry as we talk about ours. Do you think like the guys are getting together at the local lawn cutting podcast and they're like, what do you think about, I don't know, man, the growth rate on lawns has really been down due to the environment.
Speaking of that, if I had to start like a service business, it'd be lawn, and I would call it like "We Will Call You Back" landscaping. Literally,
Okay.
and it's funny. I met a guy. His business name for his landscaping company is "We Keep Our Promise Landscaping."
Huh.
Swear to God.
I had a buddy one. It was called the lawn wranglers.
The Long Rangers.
Or the lawn rangers instead of the lone
The
rangers.
Lawn Rangers. Oh god.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We've made predictions on this show and we've been wrong and we've been right. I think as long as we have water, there'll be water sports. Recap of last year. I think it was a tough year across the board. I think it was a tough year across the board, no matter what type of water sport you're in. As you said, people were still coming off the highs of COVID. Yeah, man. I mean, it's like domestic travel's down, less discretionary spending. And, we'll see what next year looks like. I think it's probably going to be more of the same.
I've talked to dozens of businesses, not just in water sports, but just general hospitality. And the consensus is similar year to 2024 is what they're projecting.
Yeah.
I know for Trip Shock, we're projecting maybe a point or two better than 2024, just because there's a lot of new things that we think we're going to deploy that will bring some more sales in. But we are not budgeting from like an expense side of things of like we're going to do more or a lot more than 2024. We're going to try, but yeah, that's just the reality of it. I don't think the economy is showing glaring signs that we're just going to have a gangbusters year. A couple of my real estate friends posted on Facebook recently, and they were saying that this is going to be a buyer's year compared to sellers. I think that real estate is going to be pretty flat, which, doesn't surprise me. I think real estate prices are still crazy high. And the market for buyers just isn't there, to afford the prices. So it'd be great to see prices come down a little bit, but yeah, I mean, that's I think when we did our prediction show last year, we said 2023 was going to be similar to 2024, but it actually was probably overall a little bit, maybe a little bit worse.
If I can say one thing,
yeah.
I think like the deployment of the AI creatives, like everybody needs to pump the brakes. Like I get it, but some of this stuff, like your logos that you're having done by AI, your copy that you're having done by AI, your graphics that you're having done by AI look like straight up shit. Like I get that you're oh man, I don't need a marketing agency or I don't need a blah blah blah. I'll just have AI create it, and it's dog shit. The copy is dog shit. I mean, it looks absolute like some of these logos I see getting done. Like, man, you need a second pair of eyes on this stuff, man. You know what I mean?
I'm
like,
glad you brought that up.
Cool that you were able to do this. Like, yeah, this is neat. Still a shit logo,
Yeah, let's agree that AI's from like a generative like text is great. I mean, it's really come a long way, but images and video are still total shit.
And I do not like AI ad copy. I mean,
no.
I
like it to create the framework, and then I go in there and edit it. It gives me it's really good for just giving ideas and running models and stuff. But leaning too heavily on AI is going to hurt you. And I feel, and I think you agree the same, is that brand is going to come back in 2025. Before the past few years, we've been just like basically a lot of us running commodity-based businesses. You can run a Google ad campaign and just load up. There really wasn't much to it. But I feel like now that different channels are becoming more prominent, like TikTok and even Facebook and Instagram are becoming more prominent channels. But your advertising strategy needs to be way more diversified. And that means that having consistency between all these channels is important. Like I put a post about OTAs, is that you got to make sure when you're building your OTA listings or even building your product listings to have consistency, same images, same ad copy. When people are Googling your name, that they're not seeing all sorts of different things on each site, because each one of these channels is going to bring you business. But I mean, I can't tell you how many people, like, they have one photo here on this site, whole total different product name, and then you go to your direct site, totally different. It's just so all over the place.
And then it helps people find you if they want to book direct. I mean, there's a segment of the marketplace that is an informed shopper. They want to buy direct. They know that they're going to probably get, maybe not necessarily better service direct, but I mean, I do everything direct. I book every hotel direct. I do everything direct.
Yeah, I shop and I'll book an OTA still. Just because I'm an OTA guy doesn't mean that that's the first thing I go to, but I do use them as tools. And sometimes I do book with them. But if you have consistency between your OTA channels and your direct channels, if someone sees you on an OTA and then comes back a day later and searches you on Google, you're easily found because you have brand consistency. They're going to notice you from the photos, the ad copy. And this is all like a new strategy that you're going to want to deploy in 2025 and beyond, is like brand will come forefront because less people are using Google. I didn't use Google all week. Like for the first time ever, I went to ChatGPT and asked all of my queries, and it did a way better job because I can have those conversations with it, run models and stuff. But I'm still using Google heavily for like reviews and finding like local businesses. But man, ChatGPT is far greater for asking questions and having like conversations about like, different business strategies and stuff. Just helps you break things down and outline things out better. But if that's the case, if we see this huge movement, ChatGPT starts taking more and more market share, and other AI programs start taking more and more market share, and you're sitting here relying on Google like most of us do. And I'll tell you, I got caught my pants down this year on Trip Shop because I've leaned heavily on Google for 15 years. And this year it's like, oh shit, the demand's not there. It's super competitive. It's gotten too expensive for categories, and I don't have a good plan B and plan C. Not good enough to where I could transition to. So I got wind of it, and I've started making the changes in September and October. But these should have been changes I've made 2 years ago. But I got too comfortable with one channel, and we preach this on the show, like never put too much eggs in one basket. But like, where else do you go from Google organic or Google ads? Like they're just there and they're easy, and you just get really, comfortable.
Yeah, that's the other thing I think going through next year. And if you're at the event, Greg and I both are a big fan of 2025 leaning into different acquisition models. I think TikTok is going to be a winner going forward, provided they don't, ban it.
Yeah.
Snapchat.
TikTok ads, is that something that you are considering?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we're going full into it, and TikTok really, this is not something that you can half-ass with TikTok in order to gain traction. You've got to have curated content. You've got to have quality video. You got to have quality narration. There is an art to it, and you can't skimp on it. Like right now, I'm trying to figure out how to scale it just from creating a library of content and a ton of ideas. I would say that TikTok to me is the early days of SEO, where you're trying to use like SEO blogging to drive traffic to your channel. And it's a lot. Now this has been automated, so you can go and write an SEO blog on ChatGPT, but TikTok is still very much a native tool. Like they want you inside of TikTok. They don't want you leaving TikTok. They put their TikTok stamp once you create the video and put it in there. And then when you try and move that over into other social media platforms, it gets pushed down in the feed. So like TikTok very much, it's like, you know what I mean? You're not going to really create, and don't get me wrong, there's like the Gary V, the school of marketing. That's like, if you create a blog, or if you create a piece of content, you want to try and splinter that content across 4 or 5 different mediums. And I don't disagree with that, but you have to be very careful how you're uploading it. So if you upload it to TikTok and then try and share it over to Facebook, it's not going to get the same traction. However, you can still use the same video of cut.
You're talking about creating the right content for the right platform and audience, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. Yeah,
and it's heavy lifting. It's a lot of work. And you got to have somebody on board that can edit it. And I've seen a lot of marketing agencies struggle with trying to correctly get this done because the amount of work that it takes and the sheer volume of it. It's like you have to go out and have to eye for the content, and then you have to either hire an editor. I'm currently looking to see if I can find an offshore editor, which is a challenge because they have to have a feel for your product. So I think it gives creators an advantage, especially if you have an eye for great creative content on any medium, and you're going to be able to win in that space, I think.
So what are like your 2 big channel focuses in 2025
for this year?
You said so TikTok is one of them. What's the other one?
Blogging and Google ads.
Google ads.
Yeah, you guys stay over there. Stay out of my. But this goes back to the whole like heart of everything we've talked about. I'm on TikTok. I spend time on TikTok. I like TikTok. I look at the content. I like see how it's edited. I see how it's narrated. I see how it's shot. Like, I hate to give him big ups because his head's already too big. But Justin Buzzy's a really great example in our space of somebody who puts together pretty great content for TikTok. Yeah. But as always, you have to look outside of our industry. You have to look at who is making great content for any industry, and how is it driven? Is it focal point? Is it broad? You like TikTok, it's like you have to literally vertical video. We've talked about it 100 times, but it's like if you go in there and you try and shoot like wide, it's not going to play on TikTok.
Have you ever looked into the Poppy AI that I was telling you
about?
I've
got it in my notes. We're going to incorporate it. Right now I'm just shooting raw footage.
I was at a conference, and the presenter was talking about Poppy.ai, and basically what it's a tool that you can find 3 influencers within your space, find their most engaging content, put it into a like a workflow, or not a workflow, but like a storyboard, and then AI will look at that, find the commonalities, and then it will suggest to you what the most viral content you would need to create for your business to get the most views. And so it seems like it's something that would work really well. I've never tried it, but the presenter was just like, they swore by this program. So I agree. I think it's actually pretty brilliant. They can actually assess why it hit those numbers, what about it made it hit those numbers, the timing of it. They take everything into account. So I thought that was a pretty cool program. But yeah, I definitely I'm gonna try this year to really hone in on Facebook and Instagram, which I did the end of last year, and it did really well. I mean, I just went a little deeper into it, so I'm excited to actually run a really strong Facebook Instagram campaign actually in season instead of in the fall when we were kind of on the way out. So that's one channel I'm excited about exploring more. And then the other one is affiliate relationships, which we've done a little bit on the Trip Shock side, but we're really going hardcore on it. Just creating, we call them stores, where property managers can actually build stores of our Trip Shock product, and then we do a rev share on that. And we've had a lot of success last year, which is a handful of clients. So we look forward to building that program. So I'm going really hard on those 2 channels. Obviously still doing Google and Google paid, but just pivoting and making sure that my channels are more diversified. My goal is in 3 years, less than 50% of our business is through Google. It's a lofty goal because still, like, that's how people find things, but I do see that shift. This was the first year when we saw a double-digit shift from Google to other marketing sources. So we're kind of moving in that direction.
Yeah, and I think what becomes challenging for a seasonal small business owner is that that's what we're doing. We're like a seasonal small business owner.
Yeah.
And really, at the end of the day, I mean, so you made your little comment on my post, you know what I mean? Which I'm gonna give you a ton of fucking pushback on, because there's realistically.
Which one? The saving money is making money?
No, it was like what did you say? Like optimizing, and I was like, yeah, it was something like that. But you said something other optimizing or whatever. What was your comment? Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up.
I said saving money is making money.
But
optimize your business or something, or your processes,
yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna fight you on that one. No one ever saved their way to financial freedom, buddy. Let's find out. I said buy more crypto. Someone said get into the car rental business. Harbor Tours, sunset cruises on a pontoon. Eric Pinson offered me a job. Get ordained. Canvas upholstery. It's fun. I've done all of this too, by the way. Lounge singer. Get into insurance. Here we go. No, it's not that one. Oh, no. Somebody asked. Hold on, give me a second. Let me view post. Let me go into the group. Oh, what do you do in the off season? That was it. And you said, where the hell did it go? You said like optimizing for.
Yeah, and you call me Dave Ramsey.
Oh, did you say, was that all in one?
Yeah, I think it was all in one.
Hold on. I want to fight with you about this.
But think about it though. I mean, if you found ways to save money for your company by auditing all of your expenses and your processes, and you're able to find $20,000, that how much would it take you to make $20,000? I think it makes a lot of sense.
I mean, I agree with you to a point, but like, how much time do you spend on that? Like, if you talk about our off season, the average operator up here, and then even shorter in some other like lake. And like, you gotta understand, for some people, this is the side hustle. Water sports is the side
True.
hustle.
Yeah.
If you're in a, like, you know what I mean, like Michigan or anywhere that's not Florida, you've got a 3 to 4 month season. If you live in North Florida, you've got like 6 month season, arguably 7 month. So it's like, how much time? Like, I mean, if you're young, if you're just getting off the ground, if you're, you know what I mean, if you've been in the business a couple of years, you know, don't get me wrong. Yeah, if you're doing 30 million annual or 10 million annual, and you're like, yeah, man, we're gonna sharpen up our marketing, you know. But if you're owner operator,
I
seasoned
agree.
business,
No,
there's
I
only
agree with
so
you.
much time you can spend on that stuff.
There's not enough to actually save. No,
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
But
And-
I think
but
I'm gonna give you
I
props.
agree with you though, like
Yeah.
that there should be some time delegated to that, or what's the word I'm looking for? Devoted to that.
Devoted to that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that devoted to that, and you know, looking at these different channels and learning some new systems and stuff like that. But I'm
Yeah,
still
like
very
just
much
like
like,
auditing your reservation software. I mean,
sure. If
perfect
you
time.
are, yeah, absolutely. Nice
Perfect
plug.
time to call WaveRes.
Yeah, absolutely. Write a book.
Write a book. Yeah.
We're gonna talk more about that. So, yeah. So I don't know. Like, again, I look into it as like, you know, if you are a one offering type of business, then should you bring in a secondary thing? If you're doing skis, should you bring in boats? Should you do in paddleboards? Should you do some kind of tour? Should you add something to your offering?
That's all outdoor stuff, though.
Yeah, I mean,
if
if you want to scale your
yeah.
business, but if we're talking about like, this is what you do, you're a lifestyle business, then I agree with you. If you are talking about scalability and you're sort of like to a point to where you're just like, you know, I'm not buying a $500,000 head boat for, or $300,000 head boat for 3 month business or 4 month business. So this doesn't make sense where we're at or whatever it is that, you know, then I'm always trying to figure out how to scale, how to add on different revenue. And I think it's also like a learning thing, like back to the stock thing. Like, this is why I like new businesses, because I like to see. It was funny because Nathan made a comment about physical mailers, and I do have an opinion on, or physical marketing, and I do have an opinion on it. Like, I've seen physical marketing work really well.
Well, hey,
water sports.
I want to know. So you talked about Christmas lights on a few shows ago. You just finished your first, go at it. Mm-hmm. Like, what was your experience of Christmas lights marketing?
Awesome. It was great. Yeah, it was a great. I mean, I saw like a side to marketing that I'd never seen before. Like, so I put up a lit sign in my yard. Being that our house is the first house.
I still have that sign. Kevin did my house too. We did really well.
Thank you.
I still have your sign in my.
Yeah. So I mean, we got a couple jobs from that, right? So I put a sign up, and let's say for argument's sake, the 2 jobs that we had on average were like $1,500 or whatever, and we did $3,000 from an A-frame sign that was sitting in my front yard. Incredible. Yeah. We hung, did door hangers in key areas that we knew there was an older demographic that, and it was so spot on. We had an older demographic that did not want to climb up, were aging, but still wanted to have Christmas lights for their family. And those door hangers, and we only did a few hundred of them because we got in trouble actually, because for solicitation.
Yeah.
No, like the actual sheriff. Like, again, I'm in trouble with the law enforcement.
Someone called the sheriff on you?
Yeah, Karen, dude.
Jesus
some lady
Christ.
like mad. She's like, you need to have a permit for this. And then I was like, I wonder if she was like a competitor or something. But yeah, so they called the sheriff on, and you have to have like a background check and fingerprinting. And we've done similar for the event delivery, where to get on school premises, we need to do a background check. So I'm fine with that. But it was so interesting to see how physical mailers worked in this space, and even a small demographic. So even from, we just did 2 days of canvassing, and I think we pulled like 3 jobs out of it. So it was like literally whatever it cost for us to get the things printed, $300, $400. The labor it took for us to go out there and canvassing, like another $500-600. So it's like, we're $800 in, and we got like 3 jobs from it. So 4,500, 6,000. The ROI was incredible. And then the mailers that we sent out to people's homes, all converted really, really well. I was shocked. And so like it just
So
gives
that
me
you, so how
insight.
much did you do online, and how much of your marketing budget was it 50% online, 50% physical? And it sounds like the physical stuff converted way better than the online.
Yeah, I would have to go look into the metrics. We set
Yeah,
it and
yeah,
ran and then shut it off. So I got to go back and look at our numbers because we ran at it, you know what I mean? And of course,
yeah.
I threw everything I could at it insofar as trying to canvas the world with, Facebook. And again, that also spoke to, like, in certain markets, why digital marketing might not work, because it was an aging demographic and these people aren't on Facebook and they aren't on Instagram.
Did you do
And
next
we did
door?
some ad. Yeah, we did Nextdoor. Nextdoor did terrible. Nextdoor
Really?
didn't do good at all. Yeah,
That
we got one. We
there's
got one
so
job
many
from
old,
Nextdoor.
there's a lot of like older folks that use Nextdoor. So
Yeah,
that's really
but it just
surprising.
it's so it even strengthened my belief in the CRM, because we had to build out job quotes. So we had to have detailed information on each customer, where they were located, where they were at in the sales process, how many times we reached out to them. We threw them into automations and manual callbacks and all sorts of interesting stuff that just gave me insight into how home service gets sold and how home service
Yeah.
gets delivered. And so at the very least, it was, if it sucked or whatever, I learned something about like an industry that I
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
know how to historically sell in or market to. And we figured
Well,
it out pretty fast.
so next year, what are you doing differently
For what?
for Christmas
That?
lights?
Harder. Harder
Harder.
on mailers, more dialed in on the physical marketing. We'll hit more markets because I just tested it. So I just ran it in
Yeah.
2 markets that I thought would work, and they did. And so now there's some different markets that I think will work. We'll start earlier. That'll be the next the process because we were almost a month late. Like we came into it pretty late, and and again, referrals. That was another thing. Like, referrals is such a monster in that
Hmm.
industry, and but I think it really goes to highlight that how important referrals are in
Yeah.
our industry, and why using a CRM and touch points out to past customers means so much in staying top of mind. Because the moment one of their friends are like, "Oh, I'm going to Destin," and they can, off the top of their mind, go, "Oh, you guys got to go to Destiny Water Adventures. Their team was awesome." Like, those referrals and those actual word of mouth referrals go so far, and that really has to be delivered through your CRM, or at
And
the
it
very least
also
through
has to be
Fairharbor.
delivered like quickly, because so we're starting a referral program for WaveRes, and one of the things, like part of our process is, as soon as we sign you up, before you even start onboarding, as soon as you sign the proposal, we're already hitting you with, okay, do you have any friends that want to join? Here's the referral fee structure, and just really hitting them when you're most excited about making that decision, rather than waiting, and then the fire kind of burns out. But yeah, the timing is really important when it comes to that. But yeah, I'm kind of curious. That's congrats. That's cool. You're able to
Thank you.
just pull something out like that. And now you need to figure something out from December to February, and then you'll be good.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. At the beginning of this conversation, not 2 hours ago, I was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be trading." Now
Saturating.
I'm getting messages from people that are like, "Oh my God, it's gonna be 2008 all over again." I'm like, "Ooh,
Yeah. Well, I guess we're excited about this year. We're gonna have some big announcements on the port. So we haven't confirmed 100%, but we're gonna start the port early as far as sponsorships and ticketing and stuff. I think we started it probably like in March or April of last year, so we're gonna get even early on that. But there's gonna be limited sponsorship opportunities. We're not gonna just throw a ton of vendors there like other conferences do. So if you're listening and you want to sponsor, I would send us a DM early and just let us know your intent, so that way we can put you on the list. Because we're not going to allow 10 of one category to come sponsor. We're going to be limiting based on certain vendors. But yeah, so I think that's kind of wraps it up for the show. So we look forward to having a lot of great guests in 2025 on the show. We got some other things that Kevin and I are cooking up for the podcast and the port. And I just hope that everyone has a great 2025. And as always, hit us up if there's anything that we can do for you. And we're here. So with that said, oh, and by the time we go live with the show, it's going to be January 2nd. So Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. All right. As always, keep it awkward.
Indeed.
Real quick,